These last few days have been insane. Seriously, it's March 4th today, and it feels like 5 days since that whole the United States, Israel, and Iran thing blew up. I'm stuck here in Tehran, no internet, no news, just a constant boom boom of missiles. And I have zero clue what's going on outside this bubble. It's like the world shrank down to this tiny silent cage. Even while all that's happening, I'm stuck thinking about Viktor Frankl's message for meaning. The parallels are straight up crazy. Frankl got through Auschwitz, the ultimate nightmare, by flipping his script. Find meaning even when you're in hell. Is Iran right now literally Auschwitz? No, of course not. But the isolation, the real fear, the sounds of the death everywhere, same vibe. All right, let me tell you about the day I first picked up Message for Meaning. I can literally remember it like it was yesterday. I was chilling in this cozy cafe, half distracted, half deep in thought. You know what I mean? One of those days where you start wondering, what's the point of all this? Then I noticed this book on a shelf nearby. Message for Meaning was staring right at me. I thought, okay, this might either be way too deep for a Tuesday afternoon or exactly what I need. So I started reading, and I quickly realized that the story behind the book was just as powerful as what was written in it. The author, Dr. Viktor Frankl, wasn't just some philosopher sitting in an ivory tower. He was a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust. He lost almost everything, and somehow, through all that suffering, he came back with this hopeful message. Even in the darkest moment, life can still have meaning. It's crazy, right? How someone could go through all that and still talk about hope. Grab your coffee or whatever you're into, get comfy, and let's dive into the story of this incredible man, his journey, his struggles, and how his book ended up changing so many lives. Viktor Frankl was born in 1905 in Vienna, Austria, a place buzzing with intellectuals like Freud and Adler. It was a city of philosophy, deep debates, and classical music. Frankl grew up in a regular Jewish family, but even as a teenager, he wasn't your typical kid. While others figuring out sports or dating, Frankl was obsessed with asking big questions like, what makes life worth living? At just 16, he started writing letters to Freud. Can you imagine that? A teenager getting advice from the father of psychoanalysis himself. Freud even helped publish one of Frankl's early papers. Later, he connected with Alfred Adler and found himself in the middle of a psychological revolution. But Frankl wasn't in just following others' ideas. He noticed that the real issue behind the human suffering wasn't pleasure or power. It was a lack of meaning. That realization changed everything. He volunteered at counseling centers in Vienna, helping young people, especially in the midst of a youth suicide crisis. And guess what? His program helped lower suicide rates, and that's when he started developing logotherapy, a therapy focused on meaning. Instead of pleasure or power, Frankl believed the thing that drives us is our search for meaning. But history was about to throw a huge curveball. In 1938, Nazi Germany took control of Austria. Life for Jewish families like Frankl became terrifying. Right vanished overnight and everything was uprooted. By this point, Frankl was already a practicing psychiatrist and he had a chance to leave. He got a visa for the US, a shot at safety, but his parents didn't have one. What would you do? Frankl chose to stay. In 1942, Frankl and his family were deported to Theresienstadt concentration camp and later sent to Auschwitz. Everything was taken from him: his clothes, his belongings, and heartbreakingly, his manuscript. Years of work, his life purpose, gone in an instant. Losing his manuscript was one of the most painful moments of his life, but things would get worse. His father died in the camp, his mother was murdered, his brother died, and his wife, Tilly, who was pregnant when they were deported, also died in the camp. Frankl didn't know all this right away, but piece by piece, his world was crumbling. Even in the camps, Frankl did something extraordinary. He observed, he watched how people reacted to the horrors around them, and he realized something powerful. Those who had a reason to live, something to hold on to, lasted longer. Some clung to the hope of seeing their children again. Others dreamed of finishing a project. For Frankl, it was the image of one day rewriting his manuscript. That tiny dream gave him a strength. It gave him a why. And here, the real kicker, he discovered something that no one could take away from him, no matter the circumstances: the freedom to choose his attitude. Even in the place designed to destroy everything human about him, Frankl realized that no one could force him to hate, to give up, or to lose his sense of self. He found moments of beauty in the midst of the hell: a sunset beyond the barbed wire, a tiny conversation with a fellow prisoner. Thinking about his wife gave him a strength, even though he didn't know she was alive. Frankl believed that love, even when the person you love isn't physically there, was one of the highest forms of meaning. He survived hunger, freezing cold, disease, and even typhus. He came close to this more than once. But through it all, Frankl held on to his belief that the way we respond to suffering is what defines us. In 1945, the camps were liberated. Frankl was barely alive, sick, skeletal, and weak from typhus. But when he returned to Vienna, hoping against hope that maybe someone he loved had survived, he learned a devastating truth. His parents, brother, and wife were all gone. Imagine that silence, walking through our old neighborhood, realizing that everyone who made it home is now gone. But here's the incredible part. Frankl didn't collapse to bitterness. Of course, he grieved deeply, but he made a choice. He chose to continue his work, to take his suffering and turn it to something that could help others. After returning to Vienna, Frankl didn't waste any time. He sat down and wrote a Man's Search for Meaning in just 9 days. Yeah, you read that right, 9 days. It wasn't about creating a masterpiece. He just needed to get his message out. The first half of the book focuses on his experiences in the camps. He describes the psychological stages prisoners went through: shock, apathy, and emotional numbness. He observed that the ones who lost their sense of purpose didn't last long. If you lose your why, your body follows suit. The second half is where Frankl dives into logotherapy. He explains that we find meaning in 3 main ways: through creating something, work, art, or contributing to the world, through deep, meaningful relationships, and when all else fails, to our attitude toward unavoidable suffering. The third one is tough. It's the idea that we can't always our circumstances, but we can choose how we respond to them. It's not about glorifying suffering, but acknowledging that when suffering is unavoidable, we still have the power to choose how we meet it, with dignity or with defeat. Frankl remarried in 1947 and had a daughter. He rebuilt his life, became a professor, and traveled the world giving lectures. He even earned a pilot license in his 60s. After surviving Auschwitz, he became a pilot. How wild is that? It's almost poetic. A man who went through so much darkness, eventually rising above it all. Frankl lived until 1997, passing away at 92, but by then his ideas had already spread across the world, and his message of finding meaning continues to inspire. If I had to sum up Man's Search for Meaning in one sentence, it would be this: those who have a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Meaning doesn't make suffering disappear, but it gives us the strength to get through it. Frankl's answer to the big questions, what's the point, isn't a quick fix or a formula. It's an invitation. Find your meaning, create it, love deeply, and when suffering comes, face it with dignity. Simple but profound. That's Viktor Frankl legacy, a young kid from Vienna who asked big questions, a psychiatrist who believed meaning mattered more than pleasure or power, and a survivor who came out of darkness with a message of hope. If you haven't read Man's Search for Meaning, seriously, I can't recommend it enough. Thanks for hanging with me and diving into this story. I'd love to know what gives your life meaning. Drop a comment below. Let's chat about it.